let's talk about what's going on with these traditional logistics companies. So FedEx and UPS, FedEx, UPS, and the Postal Service actually collectively have, in spite of this increased demand, logged their best on-time delivery performance since 2013, according to ShipMatrix, which is a software provider that analyzes shipping data. UPS delivered 98.3% of its packages on time, while FedEx and USPS had on-time delivery rates of 98.9% and 97.9%, respectively. So what we're looking at here, Dan, is while there may be some struggles in these retailers from their omni-channel perspective, these traditional logistics folks have really done a good job, absorbing this demand.
They learned their lesson. I mean, last year, weather was more of a contributing factor, and we could still have storms that screw everything up. And there's absolutely no way FedEx can plan for, the storm we had this week in the Midwest. Like, that's not expected. People are going to get some packages late. But last year, there were a number of problems. There were Amazon orders coming after Christmas. This year, they threw people at the problem. We were both talking about an article we saw in the Wall Street Journal earlier that they are hiring tens of thousands of people even now. So they weren't going to just, take this and say, well, maybe we'll get it right. They threw a lot of money at it, and that's probably expensive. It's probably going to hurt the margins for those companies. But from a reputation point of view, it is much better to get it right.
Yes, Dan. I saw some interesting, kind of data from FedEx that they've been really working closely with retailers to kind of plan out demand. So they've also even put some limits on how much individual retailers can put into their shipping network to kind of prevent them from becoming overstrained. That's kind of a trend we're seeing where these logistics providers and the retailers are really having to work together to make sure, all the goods get where they need to be when they're supposed to get there.
I think it's also worth it to step back as consumers. So if I send you a gift that you're really waiting for, and it's the only gift FedEx delivers incorrectly all year, you are going to have a negative perception of FedEx. So this is not a zero-sum game. 98.3% is still going to come with a fair amount of negative feedback for these companies.
All right. And in addition to these cooperations that we're seeing between these, FedEx, UPS, these traditional logistics providers, we mentioned spreading out promotions that some of these retailers have done. We've also seen some kind of interesting maneuvers to open up new logistics kind of capacity that maybe hadn't been used in the past. And one of the examples that I've been reading about is Amazon has started on vacant patches of land that they have near their real estate and near their logistics centers. They have started running some of their operations out of large tents. So I know we saw that with Tesla with their factory. They had an additional assembly line out of a tent. Well, tents are hot in the streets right now. Amazon is doing them as well. What can you talk about what these kind of operations are adding to them from a logistical perspective?
So I think it's very important because Amazon is changing how these companies think. Walmart, and we've talked about some of my Walmart issues, has always had this is our process, follow our process. Amazon takes we're getting it to you in 2 days because that's what we promised. So you talked about the tents. It's not just that they've set up added facilities. They're also bringing in temporary workforces. Basically, if they have to strap your package to a carrier pigeon to get it to you, they're open to that. And that's forcing Walmart and Target to take a little bit more of that attitude of, okay, this isn't about our system. It isn't about what we're going to do next year. It's about how do we get this package delivered. So if our manager has to put it in the backseat of his car. And we've all seen people in our neighborhoods delivering Amazon packages that are barely identified as working for Amazon. A sticker on the window of the car sometimes, which is a little creepy. But they've really taken the attitude that the result matters. And I think much like with Tesla, it was important to get the 5,000 cars number. Here, if you want consumers to have faith that this is going to work, and Christmas gifts arriving on time is very, very important to people, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes, even if you lose money on that delivery.
Right, Dan. And this is not only something that's coming around for the holiday season alone as well. I mean, we're seeing JLL, which is a real estate firm based out of Chicago. They're converting a parking garage that's over 3.8 million square feet in the middle of Chicago underneath the Millennium Park in a logistics facility for retailers to use. We're seeing some conversion of properties in the middle of downtown New York City that are old, unused structures and turning them into logistics vehicles, basically. So we're really seeing just a move, both in the short term, kind of making things work over the holiday season, and then in longer term, putting these logistical facilities as close to the customer as they can. So in the middle of Chicago, in the middle of New York, and this is something we're gonna continue to see developing. Where there's a little growing pains with the tents. But what do you see long term? How these infrastructures are going to get built out to get everything as close to the customer as possible?
Well, I think they need to know their data more. And obviously, if you're Amazon, you can use Whole Foods, you can use some of the Kohl's they have relationships with. So as they start to build the holiday data year after year after year, they in theory can have what you're going to buy closer to where you are. They can also build their sort of flexible capacity relationships. So our Davenport house has a Walmart and an Amazon fulfillment center on the same road. And usually when I drive down that road, I see like 10, 12 Amazon Prime tractor trailers, all with the Amazon logo. Now you see like 40, 50 tractor trailers overnight, but most of them aren't Amazon anymore. So they're clearly flexing out their workspace and building relationships. We've seen obviously the price of trucking has gone up. They're paying dearly for that, and that's going to hurt margins. It's going to rise prices. But as that happens next year, they might realize, yes, we can fully add 15 more Amazon branded trucks at a cheaper price, which will logistically work, and we'll need them at the holidays.
Right, Dan. I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting phenomenon to pay attention to going forward.